Hello, it's me, French Ted, and we are here for episode number 102. I get really gassed every time I hear 100 and. It's exciting. We're here for episode 102. This is the final episode before AEW All Out, our series finale. Not just for the wrestling world, but for this save in general. It will be our final AEW show on the channel as far as I'm aware. If there's a huge demand for it to come back at some point, I will obviously keep the save. I'm really tempted to pull this down as like a database and then make it shareable for you guys so you can like pick up where I left off and do whatever you want with it. I don't know, we'll see. But we're here for Dynamite. We've got Dynamite Collision, and then at the end of this episode I will just quickly confirm all of the matches that are taking place at AEW All Out. So yeah, we are here in the pre-show for Dynamite, and of course we know that Chucky T is on his way out, so we'll just give him a nice run of wins. And in this one he gets the pin, where he defeats Ross Von Erich with the Strong Zero. Just under 9 minutes, nice simple pre-show match. Chucky T, Trent getting the win, best friends, hugging, loving, yeah, not much else to say. Let's just dive straight into Dynamite, where we've got some cheeky matches. Jay White is in the main event, his first in-ring match back since his leg injury. We've also got Kairi looking to defend her women's IWGP title against Mercedes Moné. We also have Juice Robinson taking on a debuting wrestler in the series, someone from Ring of Honor. And we've also got Volta announcing who Keith Lee's opponent will be in tonight's show, plus a bunch of other stuff. It's a really packed, tight Dynamite. So yeah, let's not waste any time and get into the opening bout, which is Matt Jackson and Orange Cassidy. And in a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Matt Jackson gets the win in just under 10 minutes, very convincingly, with a moonsault. Matt Jackson with an 83, lovely little numbers there. Orange Cassidy with a 64, and yeah, nice win for Matt Jackson, just building that momentum ahead of his all-out bout against Nick Jackson. And just like, you know, many creatures, you know, Beetlejuice, say it 3 times, Nick Jackson, Nick Jackson, Nick Jackson, motherfucker appears. Nick jumps Matt, and we just get an all-out brawl. An all-out brawl, get it? Takes place in the center of the ring. The crowd are loving it. It's hot as hell. And yeah, these brothers will be facing off one-on-one in, in the main event. It's not the main event, at AEW All Out. So yeah, really heated match. Security have come in, broken them up, and yeah, it seems like Nick is now well and truly up for a fight. So, you know, perfect timing. Am I right? Following on from this though, Volta announces Keith Lee's opponent, which is up next. And Volta says, I thought long and hard about this. I want to pick someone who I more importantly trust to put their 100% in to defeating you, Keith, because, you know, any momentum is good momentum going into AEW All Out. So your opponent is Ricky Starks. And Ricky Starks is like, what? And Keith Lee just starts laughing. And Volta's like, what? Come on, Ricky, you can do this. So Ricky kind of gets nudged into the ring. So up next, we've got Keith Lee taking on Ricky Starks, one half of the Absolute Daddies. And in a pretty short match, let's be honest, Keith Lee, in a 90 rated match, what? Okay, a 90 rated 9-minute match. Keith Lee defeats Ricky Starks with a Spirit Bomb, incredibly convincing. Volta is ringside, kind of just watching on, and a little bit like, oh, maybe this wasn't a good idea. My friend is now being terrorized. But yeah, Keith Lee gets the win, grabs his belt, and kind of just gives a little cheeky nod to Volta, as in like, see you on Sunday. Or Monday, actually, because it's happening. Yeah, All Out's happening on Monday in my series. Because why not? Yeah, good win for Keith. Both Keith and Volta going into All Out with really good streaks. I mean, Keith's only loss as of late has been against Kenny Omega. Volta's only loss as of late has been against Kenny Omega. So at least they've got that in common, I guess. We're heading backstage now, though, as the Roberts family now are fully aware of who their opponents are. So Jake Roberts has called a family meeting. Of course, cousin Lance Archer has not been invited. And he just calls for focus. He says, boys, we need to focus. The goal of All Out is to keep the belts. It's to retain the belts by any means necessary. It's no disqualification. So you guys know what to do. So yeah, just a nice little segment of just the family at the table, just strategizing, you could say, for the upcoming title match that they have. We're heading back in the ring now, and Juice Robinson is in action. You know, he just wanted to stretch his legs ahead of his match at All Out against Jay White and CM Punk, and he takes on Speedball Mike Bailey. Oh, and they don't click at all, apparently. Mike Bailey's got low performance because his pop is like dead in this series for some reason. He's been in Ring of Honor for months now, but just never gets picked. And because he never gets picked, he never wrestles. So, yeah. But I figured, you know what, I'll give it a go. But Juice Robinson gets the win here with the Pulp Friction, a 70 rated match. Not very good. Got the crowd buzzing. Mike Bailey was held back by the chaotic nature of the match, whatever that means. Yeah, Juice got the win though, so that's a nice bit of momentum heading in to the show. And we head backstage where Prince Devitt is watching on and has, not an announcement, just has a little promo to cut and just says that thinking about Bullet Club Gold and how CM Punk, Jay White and co are tarnishing the Bullet Club name that I created makes me angry. And it makes me want to reach deep down and, you know, bring to the surface a side of me that hasn't been seen in AEW. And I think you know what we're all teasing, you know. So it says here, Devitt teases that his inner demon may come all out. Get it? That's twice I've done it now. There might be a third one, who knows. But yeah, nice little promo here. I mean, will we get Demon Devitt? Is that what it's called? I don't know. We'll find out. But following on from this, we've got a fun little segment here just where MJF and Matt Cardona are just mocking Australia. Steph Delander's Australian, right? Is she? I think she's Australian. Well, either way, they're mocking Australia, completely blind to the fact that Steph Delander might be Australian. And yeah, just ripping into Aussie Open, saying that they're going to beat them. I'm not going to rip off real life and mention kangaroo kicks or any bullshit like that. But yeah, they're just mocking them and just saying, no, American wrestlers, you know, North America is where wrestling is. It's not down under. You know, if you want to wrestle down under, you have to go to MLW and no thanks. So yeah, 94 rate segment, it's MJF Cardona. It's going to be great. You know it is. Just building a little bit more hype ahead of their title match at AEW All Out. You're going to hear me say that quite a lot. But you won't hear it in the next segment because neither of these people are at AEW All Out. I've got it out of my system. It is Kairi's title defense, her, you know, impromptu title defense after Mercedes Moné's challenge last week. So we've got Kairi taking on Mercedes Moné for that IWGP Women's Championship, our co-main event, you could say, with Jay White being in the main event. So let's see what happens in this women's match. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Sorry if that was really loud then. I got very close to the mic. So last week we were like, oh, best women's match of the series. Yeah, boy. This episode, we've just completely blown that out of the water. A 92 rated match in the women's division. And that's not me, you know, shitting on the women's division. It's just, you know how Real World Mods and TEW like to screw the women. But, whoa. In About That had superb wrestling. Put some respect on this match. And a decent reaction from the crowd. Kairi, again, where has this come from? This side of Kairi defeats Mercedes Moné in 24 minutes with the insane elbow, making defense number 2 of her IWGP Women's title. And my goodness, if I could pick this up and drop it in All Out right now, I would. But I can't, so hey ho. Wow, 92. We head backstage now where Volta is apologising to Ricky Starks. He thought that it would be the right thing to do to pick someone, you know, not just to pick a random person, but to pick someone who's involved in this. but he realizes that all he did was harm his friend. And to make up for it, he says that not only will you never have to face Keith Lee again, but I will defeat Keith Lee at All Out and become the international champion for you, Ricky Starks, my co-daddy. Which is the first time Walter's even said the word daddy on AEW television. And Ricky Starks is like, oh my God, he said it. Oh my God. So I think that's more than made up for it already. So yeah, Walter, Keith Lee happening at All Out. Can't wait. But this does take us to our main event. Nothing special about this one. It's just Jay White taking on a notable name in the Dynamite brand. It's Jay White, Daniel Garcia. Let's go. An 87. They don't click at all, but they got an 87. Make that make sense. Also, I think it was a few episodes ago. I'm sure someone's commented it, but I bulk record. I was like, oh, Jay White uses move. What is it? The switchblade, the swing blade, the blade? And I was like, oh, what is it? The second I stopped recording, I was like, Blade Runner. Fuck. But who cares? Jay White gets the win here, though, in 20 minutes with that Blade Runner. Got the crowd buzzing. Of course it did. It's Jay White, Daniel Garcia. Why wouldn't it? Daniel Garcia, a forgotten man. All of a sudden, you know, he's got nothing planned at All Out. And spoiler alert, it's not really a spoiler. He's not going to be there. But yeah, an 87 rated main event. This has been a pretty decent card, to be fair. We got a 90, a 92, and an 87. And post-match, all of Bullet Club Gold are ringside. They celebrate together. They put their guns up as they, you know, show that the team camaraderie, or whatever you want to call it, ahead of their match against Juice Robinson and Prince Devitt, when suddenly the lights go off and we see smoke coming from the top of the ramp and demonic but familiar music rising and rising and rising, and then suddenly the lights come back on and Jay White, CM Punk are the only two remaining in the ring as they look around, and that is how we end Dynamite. Oh, spooky. Let's see how we did. A 90, yeah. We knew it'd be a good one because of, like, we've got 3 5-star matches on this card, or 2 5-star matches, and maybe a 4.5. But yeah, awesome Dynamite card. Let's see what Collision can do to bring it home for the series. So yeah, let's not waste any more time. I'll see you guys in a sec. Okay, here we are at AEW Collision, the final Collision of the series and the final Collision ahead of AEW All Out. And what a way to open the show with a 100 rated segment with Hook and Kenny Omega. Of course, Hook, all but, 2-3 weeks ago, was our AEW World Heavyweight Champion and was heading to AEW All Out to face Kenny Omega, but Pac had other ideas. So Hook is out here, you know, a mere days before All Out to ask Kenny Omega what would have been, what could have been, and says to Kenny, will you grant me a match in tonight's main event? Kenny comes out, Kenny accepts, and the match is set. We will get Hook versus Kenny Omega. What would have been should Pac not have been involved in the title scene. So yeah, that is our main event tonight, and I'm hoping that'll be a huge rated blow-off match to take us into AEW All Out. But before that, we've got a bunch of other things going on tonight's card, so let's just slowly work our way through it. Following on from this, we have got a tag team match. So we've got 2 members of La Facción. Sammy Guevara, of course, isn't in the match at All Out, but he is a member of the Facción, taking on 2 members of House of Black. And in a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Ilya Dragunov and Brody King get the win. They pin Sammy Guevara with the Torpedo Moscow. Dralistico the weak link, of course he is. Everyone else doing a pretty good job, to be fair, especially Sammy and Ilya Dragunov. Following on from this, though, John Moxley is backstage and he's just looking for his Combat Club members. He's got no idea where any of them are. He hasn't seen any of them since arriving at Collision tonight. But more importantly, Bandido is back. He has been welcomed back to the Collision locker room by his friends Ray Fenix, Pentagon Jr. and Alex Abrahentes, as they all back him up for the Texas death match that awaits him at AEW All Out. And Renee catches up with Bandido ahead of that Texas death match, where Bandido simply says at AEW All Out, I am going to hang the Hangman. So, you know, Bandido is very serious about this. The challenge was serious. He wants revenge on someone who he trusted, someone who he looked up to, who has just turned his back on him. So, you know, Bandido wants to teach him many lessons, one of them being that, you know, he's just as good, if not as good, as Hangman Adam Page. So, yeah, nice little 89 to lead us into that match. After this, though, we have got some trios action in the women's division, and not very good. Makito broke her hand in this one, but she still pulled through, and the Ito Respect Army got the win against Athena, Mia Yim, and Thunder Rosa, when Maki Ito pins Athena with an Ito special. Emmy was the weak link, makes sense, but to be fair, there was a whole host of weak links here. Athena did alright. It was Mia Yim, Thunder Rosa didn't do too well, and of course it was Miyu Yamashita and Maki Ito that kind of carried it, even though Maki Ito did injure herself during this match. That's definitely going to drag down the score, isn't it? Yep, we know that she hurt herself. Let's move on, which is, a special little segment here. I wish I kind of built up to it. But Will Ospreay has come out to ask for some time because he has confirmed, he's announcing that his time in AEW hasn't been as perfect as he'd hoped, and that's got nothing to do with the staff, the workers, the fans. It's just not clicked. So he has announced that he has signed exclusively with New Japan Pro Wrestling and will be leaving at the end of this month. So with All Out, you know, a few days away, and, you know, new stories and new things building from there, he says this looks like it's going to be it. So I just want to come out and say thank you to everyone and goodbye. I'll see you all at Forbidden Door 2025. And just as he's about to leave, Bryan Danielson's music hits and the crowd go wild because, of course, as we know from the last episode, El Hijo del Vikingo has suffered an injury, which means his match against Bryan Danielson cannot go ahead at AEW All Out. It will go ahead at a later date in kayfabe, but of course in the series we will end it at All Out. And Bryan Danielson says, clearly you're not booked for All Out, Will. I was booked for All Out, but, you know, that match has been postponed. So it seems like we've both got a free date in the calendar. And Will, I don't think we've faced each other yet in AEW. So how about it? One final match in All Elite Wrestling. Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay. What do you say? And Will Ospreay kind of looks around at the crowd, and the crowd are like, yes, yes, yes. So Ospreay says, you're on. So we are going to have a lovely little exhibition match at All Out. It will be Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. Following on from this awesome moment, we head backstage where QT Marshall has bumped into Jon Moxley and says, John, I've been looking for you. And John's like, what do you want? And he says, Brock told me to give you this. And it's just an iPhone with a video. And he's like, he just told me to tell you to press play. I don't know what it is. See ya. And Moxley's like, what the hell? And Moxley hits play. And it's a video from earlier in the evening before Moxley had even made it to the stadium, where Brock ambushes all members of TCC. So Zack Sabre Jr., Wheeler Yuta, and Shane Haste in the locker room. And brutally, and I say decimates, it could be a more apt word, all three members of TCC. And there's blood on all three of them. You know, he's throwing weapons at them. He's smashing them through doors. He's just completely destroying them. And then he grabs the camera and just says, John, I know you're watching this. I'll see you at All Out. And then, you know, the camera fades, but we can still hear the noises that Brock Lesnar is performing on the guys. You know, kicking them, throwing them around, I don't know. But yeah, this is obviously lit an even bigger flame in Jon Moxley as he heads to All Out to face good old Brock Lesnar in a steel cage, might I add, if I haven't already mentioned that. We stay backstage before we head to that. Oh no, we don't stay backstage. We've got another match. Jeff Cobb, remember him? Jeff Cobb is here and he faces Calvin Tankman, two guys that I kind of haven't used in a while. I I really like both of them, so throwing them in a match, and yeah, it's come out pretty good. An 82. Jeff Cobb with an 84. Calvin Tankman with a 73. Can't complain. Just a random match. I was like, oh, I haven't used these guys in a while. Let's use them. And here we are, using them. But we now head backstage because Jamie Hayter is speaking with Britt Baker, and Britt Baker is just gassing up Jamie ahead of All Out, saying, oh, I'm going to be by your side for this. You're going to walk out the women's champion. It's going to be amazing. First person to defeat Demi Bennett, in singles action. Oh, I can't wait. And Jamie's like, Britt, I appreciate everything you've done for me. And honestly, I do. Like, you've been an amazing friend. We've had our ups and downs, but you've really turned it around, and I appreciate, I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for you, Britt. So all I can say is thank you, but I want to do the match All Out on my own. So please stay backstage. I want to go out there on my own. I want to win on my own, and then we can celebrate together afterwards. And Britt's like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah, sure, no problem. That's fine. Yeah, sure. Okay. Obviously, she's a bit upset, but it's Jamie's wish, and Britt just wants to honour Jamie's wish, I guess. So yeah, Jamie's going to be going it alone against Demi Bennett, a brave girl, might I add, because Demi Bennett is, amazing, to put it bluntly. Speaking of amazing, or hopefully amazing, it is main event time. Our final Collision main event of the series. It's former AEW World Heavyweight Champion Hook taking on the current AEW World Heavyweight #1 contender and all-in Grand Prix winner, Kenny Omega. And Pac has come down to ringside to sit with commentary for this one. So, our main event, Hook, Kenny Omega. Let's see what happens. Oh, 93. Okay, I'll take that. In a bout that had superb wrestling and great heat, Kenny Omega gets the win. He defeats Hook in 25 minutes with the one-winged angel. Kenny Omega with a 93 performance, Hook with a 92. Post-match, handshake, Hook says, I guess that's what would have happened, as they celebrate together in the ring. And Hook kind of just gives Kenny Omega his moment in the spotlight ahead of the AEW All Out main event. But Pac, the cheeky bastard, tries to jump Kenny Omega, but Kenny Omega is fully aware that Pac is ringside, who counters it, goes to hit Pac with I keep forgetting the knee. What's the knee called? The knee that he does, the knee. The knee, you know what knee Kenny Omega does. Tries to hit him with that, but Pac evades and escapes, walking up the ramp backwards with the biggest grin on his face, holding his title high. And this is how we close Collision. Our two main eventers in the next episode at AEW All Out, Kenny Omega and Pac. Oh, it's exciting. But yeah, that is how we end this show. Let's see how we did. A 92. Amazing. I mean, we had an awesome main event, so of course it was going to be a good show. The rest of the card, fine. We had 2 100 rated segments, which obviously helped. We got that huge last-minute announcement to replace the AEW World Light Heavyweight Championship match. We have an exhibition match between Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay in what we can call Will Ospreay's farewell match as he goes to sign exclusively with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Love that. Love that. Love that. But yeah, this is it. What we're going to do is I'm just going to take a break, and we're going to come back just for a little bonus bit at the end where I'm just going to quickly run through and confirm every single match that's taking place at AEW All Out. So while we fade down and fade back up, just take a little breather. We're going to run through every single match, maybe in order. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a sec to confirm the All Out card. Okay, and here we are. The end, or the penultimate episode of our entire series, displaying our final match card for our season finale event, AEW All Out. Now, these are kind of in running order. I've noticed that I've kind of done it backwards, but just listen to my words, look at the screen, do what you want, I don't know. I'll read through the matches just to quickly confirm everything that will be happening at AEW All Out. In front of you is the undercard. So opening the show will be our brother versus brother bout between Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson. The animosity between these boys has been growing for almost 6-7 months. Of course, there's been a gap because Matt Jackson was gone, but yeah, the heat is still there, and hopefully they deliver on our final show. Following on from that will be our three-way match for the AEW World Trios Championship. The Roberts family, that's Drew Galloway, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, taking on La Faccion's Rush Andrade and Dralistico, taking on House of Black's Malachi Black, Ilya Dragunov and Brody King. Roberts family have been very dominant as of late. So, we'll have to see what happens in that one. After that will be the farewell match for Will Ospreay, announced in this episode, where Bryan Danielson, after his match being cancelled due to Vikingo's injury, has stepped up and said, hey, one more match, Will. Let's do this. So, Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson, a dream match of sorts, if you think about it. After that will be the AEW Women's World Championship match, the ever-dominant Demi Bennett. Can she end the series undefeated? Let's be honest. As she takes on Jamie Hayter, who has also been a pretty dominant wrestler in the women's division too. So hopefully that will be a big old match. After that one, though, we do turn our attention to the World Tag Team Championships. Best Broskies, everyone's favourite tag team as of late, are going up against everyone else's favourite tag team as of late, Aussie Open. Aussie Open looking to get their first tag team championship if they can overcome the Best Broskies. Moving on, and it's starting to get a little bit hardcore as the evening continues, with Hangman Adam Page taking on his former friend, his former amigo Bandido, in a Texas death match. Yep, the most extreme kind of match is happening, and a Texas death match, I believe the official stipulation rules for a Texas death match from back in the day was something like you have to pin your opponent and then they have to also stay down for a count of 10. I think they're the rules that we're going with, but either way, it's just last man standing, but with a shit ton of weapons. And Hangman is very excited for this one. Bandido too, equally excited. So let's see if they can deliver something special. Speaking of something special, we've got two of the most dominant wrestlers in AEW to not have the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, and that is Keith Lee, our international champion, and Volta, who is a more recent addition to the roster, but still one of the most dominant men that we've had in this series. And they will compete for the AEW Men's International Championship. Can Keith Lee overcome Volta? Again, these two men recently having only lost to Kenny Omega each in the last few months. Outside of that, it's been Win City. We then turn our attention to some tag team action with no stipulations, just a straightforward thing. It is Bullet Club Gold's Jay White and CM Punk teaming up for, I believe, the first time, as they take on former Bullet Club Gold member Juice Robinson and Prince Devitt, who, in Punk's words, has become Bullet Club Gold's enemy number one. Can Juice and Devitt pull it off and defeat Bullet Club Gold? We'll have to wait and see. And then the third to last match, I don't know what you want to call it, it's a cage match. Brock Lesnar, in this episode, we saw him brutally destroy all members of TCC. So will any of them recover in time to try and help Moxley? Who knows? But either way, they are locked inside a cage. It is Brock Lesnar taking on our former World Heavyweight Champion, Jon Moxley, and he is hoping something special happens in that one. And then we turn our attention to the penultimate match on the card. It is the AEW Women's International Championship. Rebecca Knox, who's been, I'd say, underused, and that's coming from the guy who's underusing her. We've got bloody Becky Lynch on our roster, and we haven't really done much with her except feud with Maki Ito, win a title, and that's about it. But she is here on our final show, super consistent, one of the best performers in our company, taking on Toni Storm. How Toni Storm has managed to get herself a match on the final card of our series is beyond me. But she is here, and she has said it's essentially all or nothing for her at this event. She needs to win this title. So can Toni Storm prevail? After this, though, we turn our attention to the main event, and I've got a special little slide for this one. Here we go. Yep, you can see it. Good old Pac with the AEW title on his shoulder. Thank you to whoever made this, and I found it on Google, so shout out to you. It's just one of the is it Deviant or Deviant art? I don't know. But this is the main event. It's the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. Pac, a recent champion of only a couple of weeks after winning the world title eliminator tournament and defeating Will Ospreay in the final, took his opportunity, defeated Hook, our new champion, to book himself a place at AEW All Out. And then, of course, Kenny Omega has had one hell of a journey in our series, starting with the Elite and then the breakup of the Elite, the feud with the New Wave, the Golden Lovers, the feud with Hangman and Bandido, the incredible AEW All-In Grand Prix run, the one loss to Keith Lee, which then culminated into the feud with Keith Lee himself to earn this place yet again. And here he is at the final hurdle as he has to take on Pac, who is a former Wrestler of the Year in the TEW series. So he is highly, highly regarded for his skills. And yeah, this will be the final match we see in our series, and I'm hoping it is an epic one. But yeah, that's it. That is our final event card for the entire series. So in the next episode, we will finish running AEW. I just want to thank you guys again for all the support, all the love and everything that we've had on this series. I'm going to save most of the thanks for the next episode because that's where we'll be. In the next episode, we will, of course, go through AEW All Out, and then we'll return to the office and we'll just reflect on a few things. We'll take a look at the final creative and a few other little things just to, see how far we've come. And yeah, I believe that's it. So, as you know, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see you all in the last one.